afternoon. Today I'm going to do what Rob started, the 10 whiskeys to try before you die. I'm going to approach it from a more pedestrian standpoint. This is more for the average guy that just wants to try something different or explore or expand his palate a little bit more. You know, this isn't for the experienced guy that's going to go out there and look for this exotic bottle that you got to hunt 20 liquor stores before you find, and then it's a real expensive bottle to purchase or anything of that nature. This is more for somebody who is looking to expand their palate or expand their knowledge or maybe their idea of where they can go with whiskey. Okay, I'm going to start with the most oddball first, and I have since screwed all these up. I got 9, there's 10. Okay, listen, yeah, right here it is. And that's this one. This one's a pretty recent one for me. But every time I try just a little of it, guys, there's the maltiness and the rye work so well together, and it's an entirely different experience. Unlike the Koval stuff I had, which was not good at all to my way of thinking, or even some of the TX stuff and some of the other stuff I've had, this one brings the rye and the malt together in a very acceptable, palatable way. And it's the Rye is just an unusual, but it's very good. It's a place you can go to develop your palate. It's not overly expensive, $30 range probably, I'm guessing, if I remember right. And it's just an unusual experience. And this is an experiential one. This is something you should buy just to experience, because in American whiskey, it's taking you in a place that you normally don't go. And it's doing it well. This is not, I always thought it's kind of C3 and some of the different things they've done at Corsair. I've always felt it was a bit gimmicky at times. This is not a gimmick. This is really a good bottle of whiskey, I think. And I think it's a good experience for somebody. If you know somebody, hit them up. You ever come through Kansas, you send me a thing ahead of time. You're welcome to try any open bottle I have in this place. I mean, I don't care. I will pour it for you, and that's just the way I work. Just because I just enjoy sharing. I mean, I do really. Next on the line, this is going to be the minimum of where we can go. $12 a bottle, roughly. I've seen it for $14, usually between $12 and $14 a bottle. But if you hunt around, you can usually still find it for $12. J.W. Dant, Bottle and Bond, Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey, 50% ABV. Of course, it's a bottle and bond. That's what's going to be that. This guy's is the beginning of a good bourbon. This is where good bourbon for me starts. You get cheaper than this, and you can get more expensive than this and not be near as good. Not be near as good as this. I mean, I want to keep this short because I could go on, so I can't really delve into. This could be a 2-hour-long video, and I don't want to do that. But this is the best bourbon for price, bang and buck I've had, and I enjoy it. I mean, Heaven Hill's a couple of dollars more. This is all Heaven Hill. Evan Williams is a couple of dollars more, and it's good too, but I think this is slightly better. I find this to be just a little bit better than the Evan Williams is for the price. I'm just going to slide it back up there while we're doing this so it's less on the table. My introduction to bourbon, and if you haven't had it, you need to try it. Just to try it, just bite the bullet, buy it, try it. This was my introduction into good bourbon, drinking neat. Everybody should. Wild Turkey 101. I don't know what else to say about it. There is one comment I will make, and I find it true with bourbons no matter what. The gulf between palate versus price is much more minimal in bourbon than it is with scotch. In other words, that's $12 to $14 for the J.W. Dant. This is around $23, $24. And this is 101. That's 100 proof. That's 4 years in a bottle. This is, I think, maybe think they built it as 5 or 6 at one point, maybe 7. I don't remember. But the value versus price return, that JW Dent, this is maybe just a hair better than the JW Dent. Maybe it's a little different flavor profile, but it's not that different. Enough said. I think Bart has it on his. I'm pretty sure Bart has it on his. I'm pretty sure Bourbon Night. I don't remember. I've watched several of them. That's all you need to know. This is batch B519, and I got 2, 3, 4 other batches down there, plus 2 bottles of 12 left and a bottle of regular left. No, I got 3 bottles of 12 left. That one's a 175 way in the back. Elijah Craig. $60, $70 range now on average. It's just good. Now, I want to be honest with you. There are some Knob Creeks single barrels that you can get store picks that are as good as this. I find anyway. And I find the same thing with some of the Four Roses store pick selects, the single barrels. Those are some of those mash bills. And you find the mash bill that works for you, some of those can be downright captivating. This is still a 12-year-old. Most of the Four Roses are in that 10-year-old range, but some of the Knob Creeks you can get up in the 13 to 14-year range if you shop around. And now I've had a bad store pick on the Knob Creek. I have to be honest. But I have one bottle up there that is just, if you ask me what bourbon would I want to carry to my deathbed with me, and that'd be it, no more. It'd be that. If I obviously can't, because I mean that barrel's sold out. I've been back; it's all gone. But that barrel, that's why I keep that one bottle unopened. That barrel was a downright gem. And there are other ones out there. It's not the only one. But the availability of this nationwide is the reason I select this over some of the others, because that's why this one makes the cut. Because you're going to be able to get this. Not every state, in Kansas, finding a Four Roses single barrel. I seen one for the first time the other day up in Salina, and mostly you have to go to other states. I mean, until very, very recently, it was not available here to get the higher proofs Four Roses single barrels. Anyway, the Knob Creek, that's my 4th bottle, I think. 5th bottle, we're going to delve into the scotches now. Talisker 10. And Talisker 10 is a good, they call it the Islands now, I think. I don't think really it's a Highland, but I think they refer to it as Islands now. It's Isle of Skye Scotch. On a cold winter night, snowing outside, the whole 9 yards, fireside dram, I know, Ron Swanson, I can't think of his real life name. I see his face. I know in his world, his fireside stuff's done with the Lag 16, which is on my selection. But this is better for me. I mean, this is something I prefer. I mean, this is just awesome stuff. I've never been let down. This one's a good one. You get a lot of maritime notes in this, and the peat. There's a gentle peat, a little saltiness, a little more maritime notes. Has a good spicy, sweet play on that really works well with everything else. I just like the Talisker. This should be everybody's entry into Isla. This is a $70 or $80 bottle of scotch. It's Lagavulin 16. It's sweet, smoky, balanced, flavorful, 43%. It's not going to blow your doors off. It's a steady sipper, no water required. Just a beautiful, beautiful scotch. And this is where, when you really want to explore peat, this is a great place to start. It's not the only place to start, but this is where I would suggest most people start. and it's good. And you'll be hard pressed to find somebody that really does not like this. When you're ready to make that jump up to barrel proof or to cask strength, to cask strength Scotch. This was my first, not this particular bottle, this particular batch, yes. This was my first step into Islay cask strength. I'd had this. I'd had Lagavulin 16. I had a Kalila 12, which I really liked, and a Signatory Kalila, which I bought because it's just interesting looking can, and it was very excellent. I think it was a 15 or 16-year-old. But when I was finally ready to make that next step, I also had a Bowmore 15 too, to the cask strength. This is where I started at, and I don't regret it. In fact, I had the Laphroaig 10 cask strength long before I had the Laphroaig 10. And if you do it like I did it, you get the Laphroaig 10 cask strength, and then you buy a Laphroaig 10, you're going to regret it. That Laphroaig 10 is just not. You can water this down to Laphroaig 10 strength, and this is still better than the Laphroaig 10. Don't ask me why. Don't understand. So, I'm sure it has to do with the batching, and select barrels in the batches makes the difference. But I mean, you're talking $15, $20 more for this than the actual Laphroaig 10. That's worth every penny. I mean, every penny. The Benromic Imperial Proof. This is 57% alcohol by volume. I can drink this without one drop of water. 2% more, I gotta add water. I just do. And I think this other one, 46% here, is 60.4. It just requires water. What is that one there? I forget. 60.3 requires water. No water required. This is $70 a bottle when compared to the Abuna, or Abuna, however you want to say that. It's hands above. And here's a Gulf price difference again. They're charging $100 for that. You can still get that for $70. 2% less, and infinitely a little bit better. Not infinitely better, but there's a whole lot more flavor packed in this at a drinkable level that doesn't burn your taste buds out for 57. I mean, this is okay, guys. We're going with availability. This is. I've not had no problem finding it when I want to find it. You have to hunt just a little bit, but you don't have to go out there and just beat yourself to death. I mean, I live in a little town in Kansas. I go to Wichita. There's a couple of different stores that has this on the shelf, so it's available. It's worth it, and this is the only one that I would say that if you have not had it and you like sherry, and it's not nearly as intense in the sherry as some of the other stuff, and the flavor delivery is much better in this than either the Macallan 12 or the Abuna, the two other sherries I've listed on here. It holds its own in my book with a lot of the Benromics. I mean, this is a Benromic. Glendronach. It just does. Compile several peoples together and see where they overlap and cross. And those bottles are the definite bottles. If you've never had, you definitely should go try. I've said what I need to say. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you learned something. If you didn't, enjoy it. I'm sorry. If you think this is just too dull and too pedestrian, I'm sorry. But this is what my top 10 whiskeys to try before you die. Believe it or not, it can change. And even with everybody else's, it can change. So anyway, everybody remember, the spirit in your glass ain't running from you. Take your time, sit and enjoy it. You'll be better for it, as will we all. Everyone have a good afternoon.
All right.